It is June 1st, 2021. This is Atlanta United FC Weekly, a Home Before Dark podcast. Yeah, Kevin's got the homemade spicy water, the soda stream, the fizzy.
Yep.
As it were. Thank you guys
one
for
of the best worst purchases ever.
Yeah. Why is that? Why is it the worst?
Getting replacement CO2 canisters is a giant pain in the ass because every time I go to a Target, it seems like they're sold out and I have to go to 3 different Targets to find them. So,
well, that's frustrating. But thank you guys for tuning in on this beautiful Tuesday evening in Atlanta. Sorry, we actually forewent podcasting last night. I am Tim Herb. As always, I'm joined by my lovely co-host, the aforementioned Kevin Bradley, to my right, and only Kevin Bradley to my right. That's it. That's all you guys get tonight. Yeah, that's all you guys get tonight.
Slacker.
Dan's off being 2 weeks in a row being Dad of the Year. He's setting the bar too high for me coming in to this whole thing.
You know what really sucks for you about this whole situation is that even with Dan out, you have one less person to compete with to get points, and you still have yet to get one.
Yes.
Zero
points.
Neither of us got points. It's been a couple of games, actually. Nobody's gotten any points since the Montreal match. None in Seattle, none for Nashville. Maybe we'll have better luck after international break. But.
Yeah, who knows? Yeah, we have almost an entire month off in June. We go from, the 29th of May to the 20th of June. It's just going to be, there's not going to be a dearth of soccer for us to watch. That's good.
Nope, just a bunch of people watching Joseph and Barco and hoping to God that they don't get injured.
Yeah, for sure. That's the one thing that we two things, I guess, that did come out to your point over the past couple of days is that Joseph is, and I think he posted a story heading down with the Venezuela national team to go and play. Are they doing CONCACAF or Copa America? Is that what he's going down for?
I guess so, yeah.
And then Ezequiel Barco being called up to the U23s to get time for the Olympics, and I am
friendlies. They're friendly games,
right?
Like Barco's going down there for friendly matches. Like that's the worst possible solution because it means nothing in the big scheme of things.
Yeah, it's frustrating too because he hasn't seen any play time other than 30-40 minutes that he saw on Saturday. I'm losing track of time with the long weekend. Yeah. Yeah, he saw some time on Saturday, but aside from that, he's been rehabbing that whatever the muscle injury is, a hamstring or whatever.
Never found out.
Yeah, I would imagine it's a hamstring, but yeah, and then for him to be called up for friendlies, it just has the writing just seems to be on the wall that something is going to happen. For me, you have to prove me wrong that these friendlies and for crying out loud, Miles Robinson gets called up for his first training camp, and I think it was and he still didn't even make the 18, and he gets injured in training, pretty serious injury from what I recall. It's just you have to, I don't know, you have to prove me wrong.
The playoffs as a result of it.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you guys for joining us in the trap. Our typical homies in the trap: Elliot Bevan, Chiefs coach Steve, Michelle, Brittany S, Richard Gordon, Haleto. How is everybody doing tonight?
Oh boy, I'm exhausted. Good? Coming off a long weekend. I feel like I should be more energized, but
yeah, I could tell you why I'm not energized because I ate Yalla from Krog Street Market twice today. I had it for lunch and then I had it for dinner. So I went to our office at Krog and could not get a Lafa from Yalla, and then had to bring Angie home dinner from there because we don't get to Krog very often, especially in the pandemic. We hadn't been over there. Yeah, and just to get Fred's and then more Yalla.
I had half of the pre-made Kroger subs. Not as good as Publix subs, but they've got the pre-made subs, obviously. Since I'm trying to get back into the gym, I was like, I got to try to cut some of these calories. So what did I do? I just doubled the meat over on half of it and then just cut the top and bottom bun in half so I can at least cut out one piece of bread. But then I've just got these giant chunks of meat in my mouth.
It's like whenever you get the sandwich platters, the catered sandwich platters. Yeah,
Exactly that.
yeah,
Exactly that.
exactly. Yeah, it's God. Yeah, Brittany S is right. The last 15 minutes of the game was depressing on Saturday.
Yeah. But I mean, what a great game, I think, overall, aside from that.
I tend to agree with you on there, and maybe this is going to be boring for everybody because you don't have anybody to fight with, because I think you and I tend to have pretty similar dispositions whenever it comes to this team.
We always do, but I'm the loud one, so I'm the one that ends up fighting with everybody as a result.
Yeah, no, that's true. Yeah, that's true. And I'd be remiss to not say this is the 150th episode that we've done of this version of the podcast.
Man.
And it's crazy that people still take time. And I'd be wrong in not just kind of showing our appreciation for everybody who makes this a part of their regular schedule and then listens to us, on a weekly basis. This is way more than we ever would have imagined. 150
it's been a
episodes.
Long road. I mean, 150 here, not counting Offside Trap, not counting original Home Before Dark, not counting bubble stuff. I mean, we're
probably at
coming up
300
on 300 episodes of
Yeah.
content at this point. It's pretty insane.
Yeah, and we've never really done, aside from the beginning of Home Before Dark or whatever, the banter podcast, we never really did more than like one a week. Aside from, you remember we were like, okay, we're going to record 2-3 times a week. We're just going to keep it up. And like, I don't know. Then we're like, we got nothing to talk about anymore.
Yeah,
like this is not.
Yeah.
Anyway. But yeah, in terms of Saturday, I feel like, I think there are more positives to take away, and I think I caught some ire of even like Christian Mills because I was posting, tweeting out, good things like how fun this team has been to watch, and how they I feel like we're turning a corner and that sort of thing. And he's like, this didn't age well. Like, this is your fault, like that sort of thing. But at the same time, like, I feel like there was a lot of positive to take away from the game. I even said at one point, I feel like, Gabriel Hines is going to mess around and get, another call up from Emerson Hyndman. Yeah. Like he's just proven, like, showing his consistency. Like, I think that's a big positive that we could take away from Saturday, along with a couple previous matches. Like, I feel like he is coming into his own and being more consistent. Nashville, like we talked about this, Nashville's still unbeaten.
Yep.
Like, that's one thing we talked about
one
last
of two
week.
Teams. One of two teams. Them in Seattle.
So, granted, they're now 2-5-0, but they still are 2-0-5, whatever the draws. Yeah. I can never keep track of second or third, whatever. I think different leagues do different things, but the fact that they still have been unbeaten. We scored on them twice, one of the best defenses in MLS. I think there's something that we could take out of that. And then Hany Mukhtar is a very good player, and he's been kind of a bugaboo for us since the beginning of last year. I think that was like his third or fourth goal that he scored against us.
I don't know.
But he's a very good player. And like, he just took advantage of the first goal. I don't know what you do about that. Granted, I didn't sit and study the tape, but at the same time, it was a very tight, like, it was a very good goal. The second goal is like, I get where people are saying Miles Robinson wasn't covering him, but Miles Robinson can't cover two guys in the box at the same time. There's nobody there to cover the backside. Like, Miles Robinson's having to go goal side on that ball, and he's covering, I don't remember who was in front, if that was Moyle or Cadiz or somebody, but leaving, just a bad deflection to land at the feet of Mukhtar, and for him to put that ball in so easily.
And look, I mean, hindsight's always 20/20. We have been in this position before in previous seasons where we're all like, okay, once you've got the lead, you've got to secure it. You got to kind of park the bus, play a little bit more conservatively. And we saw that under Tata Martino, where those teams tried that and ultimately were on the short end of it, because that's not how they're used to playing. It's not how these teams are designed to play. And I think that what was lacking was maybe a little bit of the possession-based tactics that were employed throughout the rest of the game kind of fell apart in that last 15 minutes because Nashville was pressing so hard, particularly after that first goal that Mukhtar put in. But yeah, I mean, overall, I thought it was a really, really good performance. standout for Miles Robinson. We talked about him earlier, but my God, man, his distribution, that's one of the biggest things that I took away from this game was not just Miles Robinson and his distribution, but finally seeing not just possession with a purpose, which we've talked about, right? Like we kind of saw a little bit of that coming out of the Seattle match, but starting to see distribution and goal scoring opportunities generated in a lot of different ways. You saw distribution to the wings, crosses coming in from Bello on the left, Lennon on the right. You saw Jake Mulroney running up centrally, running over left, distributing on his end of things. You saw Joseph Martinez pulling back and getting some crazy fucking 1-2 plays with that heel flick that he gets to Hyndman over on that left side at one point in time. Like, again, you see chemistry starting to build. You see distribution from the back line from Miles Robinson, Sosa getting involved in play, and who ultimately shuts down Mukhtar for 80 minutes out of the game. He gets away those 2 times and ends up slotting one away. And that's the risk you take if you don't have somebody on him. But overall, again, a lot of positives to take away from this match. And yes, it feels a little bit like a loss just because you should have came out with 3 points and been second in the East. And now you're sitting 8th in the East and only getting 1 point. But you have to have those games and you'll learn from them and you'll adjust accordingly. But, you know, a game where going into it last week, talking to Eric, I was convinced this team was incapable of scoring 2 goals in a game. To see them come out and not only score 2, but lead by 2. Like I have a lot of positive takeaways in this game, more so than negatives. And say what you want to say about the second goal Nashville gets lucky with, you know, I can argue that Moreno's goal was pretty fucking lucky too. You know, it wasn't like it was some tour de force where he puts this ball on frame and it's unstoppable by anybody. He takes a weird deflection through the defender's legs and keeper just happens to not be able to get a touch on it. Meanwhile, Eric Lopez's goal was fucking phenomenal, man. I mean, my God, the touch and awareness there. Yeah. So good. So good.
It was definitely a good sight to see. It's good to see him get off not off the schneid, but like to get his account started with Atlanta United. I feel like I definitely like the positivity that I've seen from him throughout his insertion in the lineup. I don't think he cemented himself as like a starter per se, like an irreplaceable starter, but I think that he's started to, I think, endear himself. Or I guess that's not the right, to me he has, but like he's kind of ingrained himself into that lineup right now. And I think that he's become a pretty big key to like our attack right now. And I think, him and Mulroney too. Mulroney's the weird one, right? We talked about that last week. Yeah. I think it was Alex Morrison was talking about how, you know, you're kind of in danger if he's the guy that you're hoping to run your offense through, or something to that effect. So you talk about the press, and that was one of the things that I noticed. It was like in the first half and maybe the first half and a half. So like maybe the first, I don't know, maybe 60 minutes from Nashville, I really didn't see them pressing.
They weren't on our first half. The last 10 minutes of the first half, they definitely turned it on. They had a couple of shots on goal in the last 10 minutes where they were really maintaining.
Yeah, I just mean like I don't know.
I did it real consistent basis. That was threatening.
No, but not just that, but like whenever we were on offense, they were not on our backs as quickly as, say, you know, New England, the Bruce Arena. Whatever you want to call it, strategy to beating Atlanta United. It was very much so on our backs as soon as a passes or as soon as a ball is hit, and kind of forcing us to go backwards, kind of forcing us to go lateral as opposed to being able to push up field. And I felt like Nashville gave us more space than I think we're used to. And I think that was extremely beneficial in the first half, especially being able to open up. And you're right. I think the Miles Robinson diagonals are something that I don't think are getting talked about enough. Right. Because that was one of the big things, like with LGP, you're talking about, well, you miss his distribution. And it was one of those constellations or the compromises that you kind of came to with Miles Robinson. Is like, well, he's gonna be the best one-on-one defender in the league. He's gonna be really good in kind of being in control, but his distribution is always gonna be lacking. Well, if he can get distribution going like this, and maybe it's half and half, like half of it is his distribution really is getting that much better. But the other half is like them not having to not thinking they had to worry about his distribution on those diagonals. And because he hit 3 of those like in the first half to, I don't know if it was to Bello or to
Bello and to Mulroney.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chiefs coach Steve is absolutely correct. He said, I've never seen a team play rope-a-dope like Nashville. And that's exactly what they did too, right? They absorbed a lot of pressure. And that was something that we talked about going into the Seattle game too, is I can't remember who made that comment about their play style, is they kind of let the opposing team come at them for 45 minutes, absorb it, and then let them run them, gas themselves out, and then in the second half just go to town.
And props to Atlanta United. It didn't seem like those 2 goals came as a result of fatigue. Like, I don't think that those goals came on a quick counter that the team was just spent. I think the second one just comes because the defense is out of position more so than they're unable to cover. I mean, shortly thereafter, they have a break. Nashville has a breakaway, and defense is able to fully get back into position and force them to reset possession as a result of it. So I don't think it was that. I think it was just an unlucky play, just like you could argue that it was an unlucky play for Nashville's defense with that first goal that Atlanta United slotted home. That said, I think that the 2 quality goals that took place were both quality goals, Mukhtar's first and Eric Lopez's. And I think as a result of that, like you wipe the other 2 goals away, right, as luck, which nobody wants to talk about Moreno's goal being lucky, but everyone's willing to concede the second one by Nashville being lucky. If you really look at it from that objective viewpoint, I think that the result stands as like a legitimate result based on 2 legitimately very good goals.
Right, because Moreno ended up having to meg Dave Romney and Joe Willis at the same time. Actually, it might have gone right past Joe Willis's leg, but still, I mean, I get what you're saying. But to take a little positive away from that, you take away Moreno's goal, and he still looks the best that he's looked probably all season. Yeah.
No, absolutely. He looked really comfortable and able to make some of those heads-up plays and distribution plays that you've been looking for somebody to get on the end of and start to set up for Joseph Martinez, which I think will inevitably get him more involved in the attack.
No, for sure. And then like one of the things, I was going to try and pull up Moreno's heat map because it seemed like he was attacking more through the middle in this game than we've seen in the past. And I think that he's probably better served doing that.
Absolutely.
And it brings up a good question. It was one that I was going to ask you as well. I mean, Haleto asking in the trab, he said, would you rather have Barco or Moreno in the attacking midfield role right now? He says he thinks Moreno. I tend to agree. It seems like it's, Elliot Beaven, Coach Steve, both saying Moreno.
Yeah. I'm so torn, man, because I think that while, again, it's just a small sample size, like I think that he had a really great showing. Maybe you can stretch it and say a great 2 games with Seattle and Nashville, but overall, like there's something that you get out of Barco with his pace on the ball and his just like he's like a Jack Russell Terrier out there, man. Like he's just consistently moving all over the field and forcing defenders and midfielders to second guess where they're playing him positionally that I just haven't seen out of Moreno yet. Like I certainly think Moreno has a great skill set and is perfectly capable of distributing and he's gotten significantly better over recent weeks. I mean, I said the first week I thought he was one of the best 1v1 players that we've maybe ever had, offensively speaking. But it's just a matter of trying to kind of get all of those things to jive together. And I just want to see a little bit more consistency out of that on a more frequent basis than 1, maybe 2 games, if you're kind of stretching that into 2 games.
Talking about Barco or you talking about Moreno?
Moreno.
So Moreno. Yeah,
my pick would be Barco, but then even then that's not, I mean, that's still a little bit of a liability because he's so injury prone. And then he's been known to hold on the ball a little bit too long and not take a shot whenever you want him to just rip one from the top of the 18, whenever he's fully capable of doing it. So I think you're kind of splitting hairs either way. And I don't know that there's necessarily a wrong answer either. Selfishly, I would almost say Barco just because the more he plays and the better he looks, the more he can get for the team because he's not going to be a long-term stay. And, if if you get him for the next 6, 7, 8 games and he has great performances and goes in the summer transfer window for a little bit of a profit, I would take that. But
yeah, that's why Leto says he's this is why I'm okay with Barco going to friendlies, free publicity to sell, and it's very true. And then Brittany S. bringing up the point, said, dang, we have Union up next. That's not good. We were just watching the replay while we were eating dinner and of the Union and Portland game, and then putting in 3 goals, I think, in the first half. And they look like they're back to their form of last year, and that's without Brendan Aronson. I think Mark McKenzie's gone now too, and it doesn't matter. They just keep on trucking, and it's not a good sign for the East. So I don't know.
Yeah. I saw a comment a little bit ago. I wanted to mention Chiefs. Whenever we were talking about the number of episodes that we had done, Chiefs coach Steve, $1 per episode for one lucky trap member. No. And the reason why no is because we need sponsors our own just to pay our dues. And with that, I want to talk to you guys a little bit about Manscaped. This is the last week we're running our promotion with them. So you've heard us talk long-winded enough. Hopefully we'll continue our partnership with them, but that's all dependent on you guys. And speaking from experience, they sent us the Lawnmower 4.0, and I know that we both really enjoyed it. And hopefully you guys would take us at our word and also go check them out and all of their products, which they have plenty of for all of your manly needs. Support for Home Before Dark this week and the past month has been brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below-the-waist grooming champions of the world. Manscaped offers precision engineering tools for your family jewels. Manscaped just launched their 4th-generation trimmer, the Lawnmower 4.0. You heard that right, the 4.0. Join over 2 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer for you. Get 20% off and free worldwide shipping. Just use the code HBD at manscaped.com. That's free worldwide shipping. So all those Russian bots that were in the trap a couple years ago, come on back. We could use you. We could use you now more than ever. Just come in the trap. Listen to this part. Use promo code HBD at manscaped.com. Get yourself 20% off and get all those products shipped worldwide for free.
Did we talk about some of the features of the 4.0? They have Manscaped engineered the ultimate groin and body trimmer by focusing on intelligent functionality and incredibly comfortable grooming experience. Their 4th-generation trimmer features a cutting-edge ceramic blade. I don't know if you guys have ever used ceramic blades in the kitchen. They're sharp, but they work really well. And then to use and to reduce grooming accidents thanks to their advanced skin-safe technology. They also have the light, the LED light, helps you see where you're going at night.
Like I said, you got a bad thunderstorm, just use that when the power goes out. It's going to sound weird, but, just walk around the house with your flashlight and your Manscaped on. Get it all done at once.
They got wireless charging. No more cords dangling around everywhere. Having to move them out of the way. And those that are worried, it's got a lock feature. You're traveling through TSA. You don't want that thing vibrating in your luggage, raising a bunch of questions. You can lock that down so it doesn't turn on while you're traveling. It's time to get your own ball hair and body trimmer with Manscaped to make me time the best time and enhance your confidence with some nice, smooth boys.
Who's doing this after dark, Brian says? Nobody, because like you all, everyone's always home before dark. With that said, use promo code HBD for Home Before Dark at manscaped.com. Get yourself 20% off and free shipping. That's 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com using promo code HBD. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped. Woo, baby!
All right.
You want to sponsor us? Bring it on. We got it. We got the jewels. We got the goods. We're dolphin smooth now before
Dolphin smooth. Oh, got them dolphin teeth. So Chiefs coach Steve is trying to offer up a free dinner at Kevin's house or a cutting board from me as like a as a giveaway for the 150th episode. Just giving away my cutting boards now. I see how it is, Coach Steve. I see how it is. I don't appreciate it.
And joke's on you guys. I live at Tim's house, so
we're in separate rooms. We're just trying to keep up appearances.
It's COVID, man. We're in the middle of a pandemic. Tim's anti-vax, so we have to do this remotely still.
Wait, did you say plandemic? I thought I heard you say plandemic. Is that right?
Freudian slip.
Yeah, Freudian slip. You know where you won't get a Freudian slip? I'm kidding.
Oh, I thought we had another sponsor there for a second.
Yeah, just gonna start popping in with sponsors. Just
start making up our own.
I mean, whatever pays the bills.
Oh,
literally, man. It's not that though. That would not pay the bills.
What if we do this like what we did in school, where we just go buy a bunch of candy from Costco and then we sell it as a markup, but we say it's sponsored by us. They have to order it through our website at a markup and we still ship it out. You know, like we're selling Airheads for $0.25, but we got a box of them for like $2.
Okay. Yeah,
just
I know.
Making up our own ads.
I know. I know kids who paid their way through college by selling Little Debbie snacks in the courtyard of Lakewood High School during lunch.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Somebody said they're talking to Arby's corporate.
Arby's? Just start selling our own Arby's.
Brian said he's writing an email to Arby's corporate. Yeah. I see
Arby's at a markup somehow.
See, I would even be good with Applebee's.
Oh, that's not bad. That's what we really need to do. We need to get a corporate sponsor that's not doing so great after COVID. It's like looking to get into the podcast game.
Red Robin, yum.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Some Schlotsky's Deli.
Red Robin's French fries are just like they're like sticks of mashed potatoes with a crunchy skin around them. Like once you get past the skin, it's just nothing but just potato on the inside. It's just so starchy.
They're just the shavings whenever you peel a potato.
Exactly. That's exactly what they are. Yeah, we don't have another game for like 3 weeks. 3 weeks. We don't have another game for 3 weeks.
Yeah. So we'll be on a break until after that game.
Yeah.
So getting back to the game this week, we talked a little bit about Miles Robinson and his standout performance. Anybody else really stand out to you a lot this past weekend?
I mean, I would say Sosa, but he's a standout every week to me. Or I feel like just always consistent. Never have to worry about him. I don't feel like, but I don't know. It's tough. I did feel like Joseph played really well. On Saturday, I thought that
he's really getting the fact that he's pulling bicycle kicks and going up for these challenges and stuff like that. Like to me, that just says he's trusting that knee more and more every single day.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think that was probably a pretty nice takeaway to have from that match. Knock on wood, pray that he doesn't get injured on international duty, but. Yeah, he's looking better, and I'm getting less and less mad about seeing him drop back because of some of the 1-2s in distribution. We talked about that last week too, though. Like, if he's going to drop back, and if he has a comfortable or somebody that he's comfortable with, some sort of relationship with 1-2s and feeling comfortable, kind of distributing that attack or playing alongside somebody in distribution up there, I feel like. That's fine. Like I'm not so upset. I feel like I'm stammering. I'm sorry, but I feel like I wouldn't. I'm not as upset now.
You're like Gary on Parks and Rec. It's like nobody ever lets me talk this long.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Nobody ever lets me talk this long. No, but seriously, like last week we did talk about like him being wasted, being pulled back that far if he doesn't have somebody to play off of. And I felt like we were getting that with Lopez. We were getting that with Moreno. We were also getting it with, I really liked what I saw out of Mulroney.
Yeah, absolutely.
I thought that his attack, his attack on that left side. At one point, I think he ripped a shot with his right foot, and it was not very far off, like tucking in from the left side and kind of ripping a shot with the right foot. But I like him more and more as I see him. I think, he had maybe one bad game where I think I don't know that we piled on, but maybe we got a little less.
Mulroney and Moreno,
Yeah, we got a little more disenchanted with the two of them. But I think that maybe it was just a blip, because they both seem like they're pretty comfortable and kind of dangerous again.
And this is where it comes into play of having that consistent lineup, right? Like you're going to have consistent play if you can have a consistent lineup, and maybe it's 1 week here or there, but overall I feel like the team as a unit is getting more consistent in knowing where each other is going to be in that run of play, to be able to get those little link up 1-2 passes that maybe weren't as consistent 4 or 5 weeks ago, that are now starting to click a little bit more consistently. And whenever you start switching out personnel groupings in mass, that's going to start to upset that apple cart a little bit here and there. So right now, though, everybody seems to be firing on all cylinders, and I didn't really see any weak spots per se in this past week's performance. Like nobody was consistently getting beat off the ball or out of position or a liability or anything like that, to where it was overly concerning. Chiefs coach Steve mentioned earlier that he thought that the midfield needed to be a little bit more defensively sound instead of being so offensively minded. And again, this goes back to what we consistently come back around the same topics. It's like, do you want goals or do you want them to bunker? And this team isn't the Nashville and Seattle mindset of just enduring wave after wave of offense and then countering. Like, it's not structured to be a countering team in a more defensively structured midfield. Like, everybody wants an exciting form of soccer, and that takes having a midfield that's going to be pushing a little higher up the field, and then having your defenders that are your central defenders that are playing in midfield, i.e. Sosa, being that defensive midfield role, basically. And he's certainly doing that. Like, I don't see where Sosa's consistently getting too far up the field or anything like that. You know what I mean? So I think that this is like, are you not entertained, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Like, this game was a very entertaining game on both sides of the ball. Nashville, we knew going into the match, was going to put up a lot of shots and a lot of shots on goal. But even with that, up until the 80th minute, I think they only had 10 shots over the course of the game. They ended up with 15 total, and they all came in that last 10 or 15 minutes. So, for a team that's been on a league high of shots per game and shots on goal per game, to be able to hold them like you've been able to consistently do for the majority of the match, like, that just takes some mental shifts down the stretch. And I certainly think that the team's going to learn from that going into future games if they have a lead as early as they did this week.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm with Brian too. He said you could see the improvement week to week, saying good times are ahead. I 100% agree. Like, you're right. I mean, but to your point, I'd rather draw 2-2 than draw 0-0. Like, is that
exactly.
I mean, legitimately, it doesn't mean that we got goals in. I mean, we have to shore up the back line again. I mean, which is not going to be hard for us to do. We have one of the better back lines in all of MLS, I believe. I think trying to be as objective about it as possible. You look at all four of the positions back there, I think it's, we're very solid. But yeah, I agree with you. I mean, you're right. I don't see Santiago Sosa kind of catching himself too far upfield or allowing, our defenders to go upfield and leave us high and dry, because he's constantly back there kind of.
I mean, that's what LGP did. Like, covering. as much as I and everybody loved LGP, you'd be lying if you said he wasn't a liability because he got too far upfield too often. And he consistently would do that, where he would make unnecessary runs upfield and nobody would be there to cover him because we didn't have any defensive midfielders that were going to drop back. At least Sosa has that ability to go up, but he's rarely going up much past midfield. If anything, it's Miles who's making one run a game at the most up through that central midfield line. But it's not often that you see those defenders giving you those liabilities on the back line by being out of position. So
yeah, and I feel like his coverage and his coverage of that back line more has to do with whenever the winger, the fullbacks, the wing backs, whatever you want to call them, get forward, and he does a great job of filling in as that back third. Whenever we kind of transition and attack from 4 at the back to 3 at the back. And I don't know, from a standout perspective, does anybody stand out to you? Different than
Miles Robinson and Moreno. And I'd say Eric Lopez. I mean, he gets the one goal, which was great, but then he's inches off from getting a second one whenever he chips that keeper. Yeah. I mean, he had a really, really great game, I thought, as well. So those would be the 3 for me, I would say, is Moreno, Miles, and then Eric for sure. I think just, again, overall, everybody was pretty consistent. You might argue that there was just some mental lapses in the positioning in that last goal, and it's just unfortunate, but it happens to teams all the time, so.
No, yeah, for sure. And it's one of those things we're going to have to deal with. I mean, it's really like them's is the breaks, that happens. Shit happens like that. And,
did it. We've done it to other teams. I mean, look at what we did against
San Jose.
Seattle and San Jose. I mean, even Montreal, you look at the Montreal game, you're scoring it in the 95th minute, which is 4 minutes of stoppage time. And somehow you're playing into the 95th minute and you get a late goal score. Like, it happens to teams all the time, man. Like, I think the most unfortunate thing right now, and it's just so early in the season, and it's hard not to start digging into it because there are some games behind us, is to see us drop from second in the East with that lead down to 8th in the East because there's such a tight spread in between the teams in the East, which, kind of brings me to, I forget who just asked it. Elliot Beeman asking, can we say Atlanta is a top team in the league? And I think everybody kind of is saying the same thing of not yet. Like, let's just kind of wait and let this see where it goes. Like, certainly improving, and I tend to agree with that too. Like, we're seeing improvement week over week, but I don't see enough from this team to say top team in the league right now.
No, I agree with you. And I know that I predicted probably cheeky or, kind of cheekily at the beginning of the season that we were going to finish top in the East. But I mean, if I look at it pragmatically, I don't know that we are a top team right now. I think we have all the makings of a top team. I think that it's going to take time and then just, tenure underneath Gabriel Heinze in a system and some familiarity among the team without injuries and with, consistency in that lineup, as you kind of hammered home early in the show. And I think that is the biggest key. And I think that's what you see a lot of, with a lot of these top teams in the league too. I mean, I guess you could take a look at Seattle and say, a lot of their lineup, I mean, they're missing 2 very key players in Jordan Morris and Nico Lodeiro, and they're still kind of firing on all cylinders. But that said, that team is, I love Jordan Morris, but he's often injured. So they've had to work without him for a while. In a lot of instances, they have a lot of great players, but a lot of consistency too within that team. And they've been playing under Schmetzer for 11, however many years that he's been up there. And I want that, like, for no other reason, the patience with the manager. Like, I just want to see that him have, because you're going to have a core group. And if you look at a team like Seattle, a lot of that group are guys that are going to be with them for a long time, or that have been, like, they're not guys that are immediately getting shipped off.
Look at places. Toronto, man. I mean, Toronto, who's won two cups in the past 6 years or something like that. And between Josie and Michael Bradley being there for what feels like 2 decades at this point, I mean, they have long-standing tenure at manager too, right? I mean, they've had their manager for
Chris Armas is their manager now.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's
Greg Vanney left,
that's right,
or was fired last season. They had a bad year, but I mean, they had Javinko for a long time. They have, Jonathan Osorio, I feel like, has been with the team for a while. Richie Larea, like they're guys. I mean, there's a lot of familiarity on that team. And same with but again, like I don't know. Like I don't think we're a top team. I do think that we have the makings of it, and yeah, I'm just excited to see. I think the sky's the limit for this team. Honestly, we don't have a lot of old dead weight on this team right now. I mean,
No.
who's the only, and he's not even old. Like Kubo Torres is probably the only dead weight. Honestly, I mean, I say that, I can't even say I say that with that much like with all due respect or whatever. But like, he's the only guy on this roster that I look at consistently and say I don't know what he brings to the team and why he's here and holding back other players from potentially getting their shot.
No, I hear you.
Oh, sorry. Nathan Explosion said Greg Vanney left.
Gotcha.
He wasn't fired. Yeah, he's with Galaxy now. So
Gotcha. And the other thing, talking about managers and it's, with this team being so young, you can't help but draw comparisons because we've only had 3 managers. It seems like a lot in the span of 5 years, but I did think it was interesting that they mentioned that through 6 games, Heinze is the best manager that Atlanta United has had, statistically speaking, with points through 6 games.
Who's the worst? Tata Martino?
No, I think it was Frank because they said that he was 1 point higher than Tata Martino through 6 games. So again, but you've got to have that tenure, you've got to have that repetition, and you've got to have that consistency in the front office to be able to maintain anything. And he's clearly got the locker room on his side, and he's doing all the right things from the personality standpoint to get the team energized and in a motivated frame of mind to play better. And they're consistently doing that week over week. So I don't see any reason for that to cease, barring any substantial turnover in the roster one way or the other due to injuries or otherwise, because that's going to be a challenge no matter who the manager is. So
no, I agree. And, people saying that, like, Brian saying the patience that Frank deserved, kind of laughing about it. And the same thing, Joe Johnston saying we said the same thing about Frank. And
no, I agree.
Yeah, I mean,
I was never on the side of fucking Frank leaving.
No, none of us were. None of us on the show were. I think maybe Dan and I got broken at the end of the season last year, where it just didn't look like, from a mutual standpoint, it was going to work anymore, and it was time to cut ties. And it wasn't a matter. I think it was just a matter of Frank de Boer looking broken and dejected, and it all makes sense if he had no say in anything that was going on in roster moves. So I wouldn't want to be here either if I'm a manager. Like, I'm not saying give full control over the roster to the manager, Mourinho style or anything like that, but at the same time, you got to have some sort of input. Like, you have to value your manager's input, because if you're bringing a manager in to kind of cement his philosophy onto the club, you have to surround him with players that match that philosophy and not just try to play Billy Bean Moneyball, where you're playing like money and statistics and all that stuff to bring guys in, because this isn't baseball. Like, baseball has one formation on defense, one formation on offense, whatever. I mean, it's I don't know. Oh, Alexis Guerrero, so the Cooligans saying in the trap.
What the fuck are you doing?
What are you doing? You got Fubo TV
peanuts, man. This is peanuts for you. Shouldn't you be eating some pizza pie or some shit? I don't know.
One bite, everybody knows the rules. BoJack Horseman. Like, you should be doing so many other things, but he's right. Orlando fans were #Frank in. And
exactly. I'm still Christ.
Yeah, I'm still hoping at some point Oscar Pareja gets removed.
Yeah.
And Jason Christ gets brought back into that team. Yeah. It's Orlando won again, right? They went 1-0.
No,
is that
no? They lost 2-1 to Red Bulls.
Oh no, you're right. I was thinking of the week before.
Yeah. They were one of the 3 teams that were undefeated going into this week. It was them, Seattle, and Nashville. So they've dropped, and now it's Seattle and Nashville. So, which is so crazy to me, because Red Bulls and NYCFC are still below the line, if I'm not right.
NYCFC slander.
I'm serious.
See, Alexis is dipping his Doritos in caviar. I dip mine in cottage cheese. We're just in different leagues, Alexis.
Okay. So here's a new thing I saw on TikTok. And by TikTok, I mean Reels on Instagram, because that's how I waste all of my life now. Flamin' Hot Cheetos, but then you pour the ranch packet into it. Not the packet of like made ranch, but the ranch dust into Flaming Hot Cheetos. Your sodium's going through the roof, but you basically get the hot wing appeal of like the ranch powder packet over Flamin' Hot Cheetos. How great of an idea does that sound?
Yeah, it sounds pretty amazing.
You're going to need a gallon of water if you're eating it, but
yeah, a gallon of water for your entire body to retain for like 5 days.
Exactly.
Yeah. I want to try that now, and then I want to try the Easy Mac with the molten hot Cheetos.
The Cheeto Mac?
Hot Cheetos Mac, yeah. Can you get this at Arby's? Dude, what if they did the half-pound beef and cheddar, but with a flaming hot cheddar?
That's what the beef and cheddar is missing, is the crunch factor.
Crispy jalapenos. That's it, right? So you get like a jalapeno popper, maybe top layer. Like, can you
like the French's onions, but in jalapeno form on
like we had at Sonic.
Yeah.
Yes,
that's exactly what it needs.
So
exactly what it needs.
But with the double decker, can you pick your cheese sauce top and cheese sauce bottom? Can you do like a flaming hot on top?
This is making me nauseous.
I mean, so where were we at, Kevin? Where were we?
I don't know.
Before you brought up Reels.
Okay, so
NYCFC's in 4th right now.
Oh, okay. They were below the cutoff line before this week, so I missed that.
Right, because the cutoff line is 3 points from 4th place. It's kind of crazy.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's fucking nuts, man. I mean,
yeah,
Atlanta would have been in 2nd with the win, and then they drop all the way down, or 3rd, I guess, but then they drop all the way down to 8th with the draw. It's wild.
Yeah,
but yeah, Red Bull's still below the cutoff line. I mean, it's really, 5 points between 10th and 2nd. That's what's crazy. And of that, you've got between 2nd and 10th, there's a 5-point spread. But then of those, 8 teams, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 with games in hand.
Right, and even FC Cincinnati has 2 games in hand. Not that FC Cincinnati's ever going to do anything with 2 games. Yeah, I mean,
it's all that fucking chili spaghetti that they've been eating.
Oh my god, Skyline chili is trash, and I don't care. Like you could say whatever you want, and I'm not even saying like putting chili on top of spaghetti is inherently bad. I'm saying putting cinnamon in your chili is disgusting, and you got to stop. You have to stop. I'm down with the half a pack of shredded sharp cheddar on top. I'm down with the spaghetti. Make it cafeteria style, where there's a half a cup of water at the bottom of the cafeteria tray whenever you're done.
Gross! It's just like that's just hot dog water they pour into this.
Stop!
I'm convinced.
Stop putting cinnamon in your chili. It's disgusting. The only team in the East that I could conceivably see, or that I couldn't conceivably see making a playoff spot, is Cincinnati. Like, because we've talked about.
I don't see Chicago making it.
Well, we've talked about the positives. Like, I think you could see Chicago make a run of. I think it's just going to take a stretch of games. The East's going to beat each other up so much this year. If you get a good stretch of games from Chicago, with Robert Barrett scoring goals wherever he missed it, like the goals were. He was off by, a couple inches against us, or like the crazy chances that he gets that he's able to convert. I don't know. I feel like they're a much more dangerous team, obviously, than Cincinnati. We don't know what's going on with Toronto. I mean, Toronto's been, we talked about them being a stalwart in MLS over the past, I don't even know, a decade after transforming what was a laughingstock of an organization, I think, into a powerhouse. But Josie wants out, right? That can't be good for the locker room, right? Take aside set aside what he's actually providing to the team. It's never good for morale whenever you have a guy that's so influential on that team to be to be, on the trading block for as long as he, I guess he has been. They said they've been shopping him for a while, which was pretty shocking to hear. I just figured he was on one of his long stretches of injury that he typically is, because he can't stay healthy. But I don't know what happens with Toronto. Inter Miami, we haven't even talked about that elephant in the room. I guess it's been talked about to death. Thank God, maybe Paul McDonough didn't catch lightning in a bottle his first year here. I don't want anybody digging back into the past. Like, that's, all that shit that happened down in Miami. It's definitely amateur hour down there, but you look at them and they're 2 points from the playoff line too, or 3 points from the playoff line. So I don't know. There's a lot of talent in the East. Red Bulls, I feel like, are always going to be in it. NYCFC, if they're starting to streak, they have a great team.
Wait, are you looking at the same thing I'm looking at? What do you mean they're 3 points from the playoff line? They're sitting with 4 points right now. Playoff line is 11 points.
Who? Miami?
Oh, I thought you were talking about Chicago.
No, I'm talking about Miami. No.
Miami now. Okay. I'm sorry. I didn't make that.
And even DC, is only 2 points away from the playoff line too.
No, absolutely. Yeah, DC up. I think. Yeah, I guess you can argue maybe Inter Miami, but even still, like, it's going to be a clusterfuck in the East, man. So that said, making prediction. Who do you think? Okay, here will be a fun thing. So coming back from. So we're a quarter of the way through the season, right?
No. 8 games out of 34, so not quite.
So, but close.
Yeah.
Close. We'll just round up and say a quarter. So, who do you think leading up to midway to the season after the international break is going to make the biggest moves in the East? Do you think Atlanta comes back and is significantly better with some time off? Or do you think that they kind of stay the same? Do you think that any of the teams that are maybe below the line right now, like Red Bulls, like DC, maybe make a big surge? Do you think, my bet is the one thing that's consistent year over year is that Orlando gets really hot and then somehow ends up down in the bottom, with the exception of last year where the entire world was on fire. So that would be my prediction, is I think Orlando falls out of playoff contention after being one of 3 teams that was undefeated going into week 7, but that's just me.
I think you're wrong. I hope you're right. I just don't know if this team is built differently with Pareja at the helm. I really hope I hope you're right. Columbus Crew, to me, reigning champs, I think they're going to get a stranglehold back on the East. I think you'll see them jump up. I don't think that New England's going to stay at the top for very long. Not to say New England's going to drop very far, because, oh God, it hurts me to say they're well coached because I don't like Bruce Arena so much. But, well coached team, very dangerous in attack, and just, maybe not first place, but I think they're still probably a top 3 team. Maybe you see Orlando go down a little bit, but between Philly and I think Philly and Columbus are going to be fighting for first and second place. And I think I think Columbus is still shaking off the hangover from winning MLS Cup, and I think you're going to see them kind of surge into the rest of the season. So
Philly certainly seems poised to stay in that upper part of the East. I could see, like you said, I could see Columbus maybe turning it on a little bit. Somebody's got to fall out of that top, though, to make room for a couple of these teams. It's certainly not going to be this way through the rest of the season. It's just too close. And I think that of the 2 conferences, the Eastern Conference certainly seems to be poised to have the most drama. Again, very early on in the season right now, being through 7 to 8 games, depending on who you're looking at here. But
yeah, it's pretty crazy. The top 4 in the West are in the teens in points, and then you only have 2 in the East.
Yeah,
and,
the fact that you've got 4 teams tied, 5 teams. I'm seeing double. 1, 2, 3, 4 teams tied for 4th through 7th place. Yeah, it's crazy. So it's going to be interesting, man.
Yeah. I do this every week, and I apologize because I've kind of put myself in charge for it. But going back to Twitter reactions, we only had a handful from this past weekend for the match against Nashville. just going to go ahead and rattle those off, Kevin, and let me know
All
what
right.
comes to mind. We're going to do like a word association. I'm going to have you sit down on this couch, lay back, and no, Elliot Beaven saying positive, scored 2 goals, and negative, gave up 2 goals, and same time as Champions League final. He's a Chelsea fan. They ended up keeping Man City from winning a Champions League, which was it's very bittersweet. I'd say it's very bittersweet because I'd rather both of those teams lose. Brian Reynolds, aka at Falcons Rule 17, saying positive, scoring 2 goals, negative, conceding 2 goals. It seems like you guys are copying each other. Alex Morrison saying positive. Here we go. The confident swagger we started to see was like seeing an old friend we haven't seen in 3 years. I like that. Negative. We will never be good at set pieces on both sides of the ball, ever, unless Kratz is brought in as the specialist coach. And this one I don't think was directly, but it wasn't directed right back at the question, but it was another comment that tagged us. It was Atlanta United has seemed underwhelming, and all the Atlanta United or the Unite and Conquer folks want to see them climb the table. But hey, let's celebrate heading into the June break with only 1 loss. I'll take it. I can't tell if that's sarcasm, but I'll take heading into the break with only 1 loss right now.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, for a team if you're going to be struggling to find an identity, I'd rather be 1 loss struggling to find not an identity, consistency in attack or goal scoring, maybe is a better way to put that. If you're going to be struggling on the offensive side of the ball, I'd much rather be struggling on the offensive side of the ball and sitting 1 point outside of playoff contention and 1 loss going into international break than sitting in a position like Cincinnati is right now,
Yeah.
So.
No, I agree. 100%. Would rather see us lose 4-0 than draw 0-0. You know what I mean? Like at least we were being
exactly.
At least we were being exciting whenever we were playing.
Exactly.
What do we got to do to get somebody like Montero from Philly, or I just want a good playmaking number 10 or winger, like somebody to come in. Like we have to. I hate it. We have to sell Barco, and we got to pay down Alan Franco. We need 2 more attacking DPs, and I don't think I'm overstating that. Or
No.
I think that's
we need it.
Agree. And I agree. Like Elliot Beaven, and we talked about this on Twitter. At least I can't remember who I was replying to about this, but Kai Kamara, veteran MLS forward who's played on, I don't know, more teams than I think still exist. I think he played probably on teams that ended up, what do you call that? Not foreclosing. What's the term for folding? I guess.
Yeah.
Teams. Yeah. Anyway, he's a free agent. We need a competent backup and I think Kai Kamara is a competent backup. He's old. Don't get me wrong. But to come in and spell Joseph and to be able to...
Atlanta kind of hit last year by, or not last year, but the year before by getting Miram, somebody that was a free agent that was able to come in and make a big difference on the offensive side of the ball. I don't see why they couldn't do it with somebody like Kai Kamara, certainly.
Yeah. Need somebody, man. I know we have to work within these stupid, even more so. I don't know. I wonder if the rules... First of all, somebody at the MLSPA or the MLS headquarters, because they control the contracts, I believe, outside of the DP contracts, and maybe even so, it probably still has to go through the league office. Somebody on the accounting side up there had to have gotten fired for what happened to Miami, right? Oversight wise,
surely.
There had to be, and there's probably some sort of renewed emphasis at the center of the league to kind of get a stranglehold on this. I will say what they did and the punishments that they doled out, I thought they were pretty adequate. And I thought it was
what they do, get fined $1 million or something like that.
The exact, hold on. I'll pull up the exact punishment, but, Paul McDonough has been suspended for 2 years? It's still the end of, they'll be docked $2.2 million in allocation money in 2022 and 2023. The owner got fined $250,000.
So I was way off.
What else? They were fined $2 million as an organization and docked TAM money, which, that's a lot, man. $2 million in TAM.
Yeah.
That's almost an entire Jürgen Damm salary.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But I thought that it was, I saw people kind of scrutinizing it as not being enough, but in a world where financial fair play has been so passed over and not well enforced with teams like PSG and Manchester City and the like, it is nice to see at least some sort of tangible punishment laid out by them, or laid out by the league onto Inter Miami. So,
I don't know why I just thought about it. I did have a question from the game this past week, and you may know better than I do. What the fuck happened with the whistle that got blown on Walks for obstruction of the keeper whenever the keeper threw the ball at Walks? It's not like he was standing in front of the keeper and then Walks played the deflection and
I have no idea.
Away. Like, what the fuck was that? Like, that seemed completely like a completely valid play, and the keeper fucked up, and Atlanta capitalized on it, but it was still blown against Atlanta, and I don't know why that happened. It's not like he was purposely obstructing his ability to play out of the box. It's not like he was standing right in front of him. He was running out of the box into the run of play, and keeper threw the ball into his back, Yeah,
I don't know, dude. Who was the referee this weekend? It was Alan Chapman? Alan Kelly. Which one?
No, Alan Kelly. It was Alan Kelly. That's right.
Chapman's bald, right?
Yes,
Alan Kelly's
right. And I think Alan Chapman retired. He was doing VAR stuff. I think he retired, if I'm not mistaken.
We shouldn't know these dudes' names. Like,
exactly.
This should be like one of those things where I have no idea. Like, the only, like, I reference NBA a good bit because I've been watching it since I was like probably 4 years old. But like, the only refs whose names I've known over the years really like are the guys that I feel like make the game about themselves or are really bad at their job.
Yeah.
Same in baseball. Have you ever followed what is his name? Angel Hernandez shit?
Mm-mm.
Oh my God. It's like he filed a lawsuit, like a discrimination lawsuit about not getting playoff games and that sort of thing based off of, I believe it's something like that. And then they've just found evidence that he's just not good at his job is why he didn't, and he lost his lawsuit. It's like,
yeah. Sounds about right.
Sometimes it is, it's just about job performance. And
exactly.
Yeah, I never know what to think with pro referees.
Yeah.
So
I go back and forth.
Yeah, I do too. And I feel like sometimes I didn't think that Alan Kelly did a bad job on Saturday at all. Like I felt like the game was pretty well managed. But
do you think the play on Joseph was a PK? The little knock because he did get ball, but then everything after the little toe tap on the ball was playing contact directly through Joseph.
Yeah, it was tough. You're talking about he's on the right side of getting past. Yeah.
It was in the second half, I believe.
No, I thought it was a penalty at the time, but I can also see from watching the review or the replay where it could be drawn either way. I think there was a lot of gray area in that play.
Yeah, I don't think it's a PK personally. He clearly makes contact with the ball. He follows through, yes, but it wasn't like it was a overly aggressive play. But I can see where people were clamoring for a PK as a result because
in real time, anytime I see one of our guys go down in the box, that's I feel like Leonardo DiCaprio from the Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah,
that meme. I feel like that's me every time an Atlanta United guy goes down in the box. But Moreno got a yellow for simulation, right?
Yeah,
that was a little disappointing, but
he definitely did.
He did. Not to say like.
In the run of play, it didn't look like it, but the replay was like, "Oh, come on, man!"
Yeah, no, it was bad. He got hit a little. I think he took a little contact, but not near enough to even take him down. Like it was, he probably felt skin. He was like, "Yep, going down."
Yeah, and it was just one of those that like he just banana bodied, where it's just the middle of his back goes out.
Cleats go up backwards like a pinup model.
Exactly, dude.
Yeah. Like I wonder how many of those guys, especially I don't know, anybody, I guess, at this point who's been playing professional, like the track to professional soccer since they were little. Like how many guys at this point it's like Jason Bourne. Like as soon as you get contact near or around the box, you get activated.
You get activated?
Yeah. You get activated, it just kicks in.
That's how Yamil Assad was for the first 15 games, is anytime he took any contact, he got activated.
Yeah.
Just immediately down on the ground.
Dude, have you ever seen a guy dole out more disproportionate response to fouls than Yamil Assad? Like he would go down at no contact and then 2 feet in, just flying in 2 feet in. There's been no like I've witnessed it's definitely like it's like a U.S. military thing. Is like a disproportionate response to what just happened.
Exactly. Yeah. All right. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us tonight. We haven't asked for it in a while, but YouTube, like and subscribe, obviously, but iTunes rating and reviews definitely help us in the algorithms on all the podcatchers, however you can do that, however you found us. To all you guys in the trap, thank you so much every week for coming and hanging out and talking to us. You drive so much of what this show is. We really appreciate it. To you that are listening that haven't gone over and visited Manscaped, this is your last chance. 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com using promo code HBD. Be sure to do it and get all of the products that they've got over there on their website. It's not just for guys. Get one if you are a lady, doesn't have to be for you. Get one for your man. They'll appreciate it, and we'll appreciate it too, because that's how we pay them bills. So thank you so much for hanging out with us. You can find us both collectively. I say both because Dan's never here. You never know what you're going to get. No matter what or who you're going to get, you find one of the three of us over on Twitter at Home Before Dark. That's before spelled B. And then number 4, you can find us individually on Instagram. Tim, where can they find you at?
You can find me at my name, and that is Tim Herb.
Find me at The Architect. That's at the _ARC number 1 TECT. Thank you so much, guys and gals. We'll see you after the break. Until then, as always, be home before dark.
Bye, guys.